Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias.
Okay, welcome back to yet another in the long series of the Rough Rider StoneWorx knife. In this case, we're going to be looking at the RR2404, and this is the Large Stockman in the series. And let's just get it out of the box and set it up on top. And, well, one of the things you'll notice right away is it looks very similar to a knife that we recently saw, which is the large toothpick. Notice how the stones are laid out in basically the same order. Obviously there is a difference. As you can see, the diagonal in these is all running in the same way, but in this one you have a keystone in the middle here, so you have the abalone cut more like a keystone, and then the other stones are at an angle off of it. So you got well, just slightly different ways of laying out the stones. Again, same on both sides. And if you notice, instead of white mother of pearl now, you're using the black lip mother of pearl and then abalone in the middle. I think this would have looked a little bit better if they would have gone with the white mother of pearl in the middle with the black lip mother of pearl. But in any case, that's neither here nor there. I mean, that's really a personal preference. And I would have once again moved the red to the center and then put the black lip mother of pearl where the red is. That would have mixed up the stones a little bit more, but there's really no problem with the stones being pretty close to the same. Matter of fact, in the first line of knives, the first time they did these StoneWorx knives, people might remember that the baby sunfish and the canoe, the stones were laid out almost exactly the same, and then several other knives would later be put out with the exact same stone pattern. So sometimes that is the way it is. My biggest problem with this is the fact that it is the Large Stockman. Now, it isn't that I don't like the Large Stockman. I really do. But the problem I have with it is there was already a Large Stockman in the StoneWorx series before. So now, obviously, you can see the bias right there because I was extremely excited that there is a new large toothpick. There was already a large toothpick in the old StoneWorx series. Why should I care that there's another Large Stockman? And that's a fair question because, well, the Large Stockman isn't my favorite. It's a really good knife though, and the thing is I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who the Large Stockman is their favorite, and they're going to be happy to see a new one, especially if they missed out on the first run of Large Stockman in the StoneWorx series. They now have this one, so there's that going for it. But there was the other thing that I had there's the other little bit of disappointment I had, and that is that we have the Large Stockman, and we had the older Large Stockman. We also had a medium Stockman in the StoneWorx series. They have since done a new medium Stockman. And now we have the small Stockman. This is the older small Stockman. And there's also a new small Stockman. And I've yet to see a sow belly in the StoneWorx series. That's probably what it is. It isn't that I'm not happy with the Large Stockman. I would have been happier if there would have been a sow belly. And maybe there will be. Who knows? Maybe there will be. That would be my call out to Rough Rider, because I know I'm not the only one who looks at the sow belly and says that is the Stockman of choice, the sow belly Stockman. And it's unfortunate that we just don't see one in the StoneWorx series yet. So hopefully that will happen. Otherwise, the build quality of this knife is quite exceptional. I really do like it. I do like the stone way, the way they laid the stone out on this knife. I think the stones look a whole lot better than they do on the first run of Stockman knives, the Large Stockman. You see the difference there? First of all, this seems to be a little more centered, and the stones on either end, notice how the yellow is, you got a larger chunk of yellow here than you do here. the yellow jasper. However, these two, matter of fact, this whole side over here looks a little smaller. And that might have been intentional because this is the larger end. And then as you get down to this end, the things just get smaller. You see that on the other side too. But to me, those stones just don't seem as attractive as this one, where you have the keystoning going on, because these stones also get smaller here, but now because of the way these are angled, it just looks a little cleaner. In the same way, going this way, going in this direction, it's the angle coming off of the keystone there that just makes it look better. Once again, the blades all have a nice half stop. The pull on them is probably around a 6. Got good action on them. It's your typical blade you find on this large Stockman. So you've got your sheep foot blade, your main clip blade, and then a spade blade. And from what I can tell, yeah, you would really have to try hard to get that blade to rub. I'm not getting any rub against the spade blade against the sheep foot blade. And the sheep foot blade, yeah, I don't see any rub. So it's pretty good. Good half stops going on. I could have done without the swedges. We've already covered those before. Yeah, you do have, yeah, you can see it right there. There is definitely a little bit of blade rub happening with the main blade and the sheep foot blade. I felt it as I was opening it. So you're going to have to, you know, be careful when you're opening it. Otherwise, you are going to get that rub line. Not a big deal to me, but I know it is a big deal for many other people. And that was also a similar problem that I had with the older knives too. But it is cool that it did make the jump, over to the half stop or the new frames that they're using. Obviously no half stop going on here. So if you want it without a half stop, you're going to have to find one of the old ones. You can see there yourself the no gaps or spacing or anything. I guess if you look real hard, you could see a gap there, but I'm not really seeing it. I think that's more light reflection than an actual gap. Perhaps, yeah. Yeah, I can definitely feel that. The brass spacer that separates the two back springs here is slightly recessed up here. That's what I'm seeing with the shadow, that the brass spacer is slightly recessed, so you can feel it when you rub your fingers across. Now that could be this individual knife, or it might be something that you feel throughout the series. In this case, the brass spacer is a little proud, so who knows. I do have one other one of these knives, another one of these large Stockmans that I think I'll break out and show you real quick. And this one is also often advertised on the SMKW website as a StoneWorx knife, but it's actually part of the Brotherhood series of knives. And this one was for the Brotherhood of Vietnam veterans. This is a knife that somebody actually gave me. I don't know if they thought it was a Vietnam veteran or what, but I quickly corrected them and let them know that I am not a Vietnam veteran. I actually served after Vietnam. I served during the Cold War from 80 to 84. So I'm one of those Cold War warriors that was sitting in Germany trying to deter armed aggression. Other people, my hat goes off to the people who served in Vietnam, and my heart also goes out to them because first of all, they were the last group that was drafted to go serve in a foreign war. The Vietnam veterans, a lot of them were drafted. They make a big deal of them being 19-year-olds going off to fight a war that they didn't ask for. But quite frankly, even the people who volunteered for Kuwait and Iraq and Afghanistan, they went with a sense of loyalty and purpose. And once again, they may have volunteered, but they didn't choose the war. The war kind of chose them. Let me put it that way. They felt a calling to go serve, and I give them great props also. And from what I understand, well, I do know the Brotherhood series has since crept out there and includes knives that are there to honor Kuwait, Afghanistan, and Iraq, the various wars, that we have fought since Vietnam. So these knives are not alone anymore, the ones for the Vietnam veterans. What you see in the stones on this one is basically it's a copy of the South Vietnamese flag, but also a copy of the Vietnam service ribbon. I believe that's what this one depicts. The stones depict that. And then if you open up the main blade, you see the reverse frosted edge for the Brotherhood Vietnam veterans, and you see the Huey helicopters, which were synonymous with that war. Many men rode the Huey helicopter to war during that time period. And 56,000 did not make it back, perhaps even more. And who knows how many are still living with that war buzzing around in their head, because it never leaves them. But in any case, a little bit of a downer note here, I guess. But any case, when I received this knife, I really thought, this is not a knife that I should be receiving. I'm not a Vietnam veteran, but now I look at it and it just reminds me of those who served. Those who served in a war they didn't ask for and didn't want to go to. And some ways I wish I would have gone and kept up with the rest of the Brotherhood series after that. Not so much because I was there, but more to remember those who did go and who did not make it back, and also to honor those who did come back. So I guess that's what I'm really trying to say with this is that's the one thing that is a plus to this knife is the Large Stockman by Rough Rider is also the knives that are used in the Brotherhood series. So if you're of the type who is looking for something to remember those who served, you might want to go and also take a look around for these knives, as well as the StoneWorx knives. With that said, let me just close this out and tell you that in the end, this knife definitely looks better than this knife, in my opinion. So that's the big plus of it. And if you're into the Large Stockmans, this is really a nice one to have. It's a nice big piece of pocket candy. Blades work really well. Got maybe a hint of a wobble there. But again, this is one knife. You'll see later when I start looking at all my toothpicks that you can't tell a lot from one knife except the way that one knife is going to act. All in all, this is really well made. We're talking about a knife that costs $22, and it definitely looks like it deserves, definitely looks like it would cost more than $22. Any case, with that said, I will let you go. Stick around for some slides.
let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.